Hi, this is Leigh Ambergy, stampwithleigh.com. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Mentor, Ohio, and thanks for joining me today. And before I even proceed with this, I just want to say that, yes, I sound a little hoarse. Got some sinus issues going on, but it's November in Northeast Ohio, and that's what happens here. When I got up this morning, it was, I don't know, 41 degrees. We're supposed to be sunny and mid to high 60s this afternoon, 70s, low 70s coming the weekend, and then back down to below normal. So if I do constantly clear my throat during this video, and I do sound, like I said, a little hoarse, I apologize. It's just, it's my life. So before we get started with today's card, just a reminder that my November PDF tutorial features the Season of Chic bundle, and with a $25 purchase in my online store, using this host code, you will receive a file that has pictures, a list of all of the supplies used, and step-by-step directions on how to make 5 cards using the Season of Chic bundle. So that is my November ordering special. So the cards today are Christmas cards, and this this is what it is. And if you follow my blog, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I like to keep things simple. Like I said, I don't do complicated. I will do some fancy folds. In fact, I just started a monthly class on fancy creative fold classes. But even those, I try to keep those simple. My personal preference for me is I don't really want to spend a half an hour or more making a card. Yes, it might take me more than a half an hour when I am designing and planning out a card for a class, but that's part of the process for me for a class. But I like to keep things simple and basic. I want you to have a pretty card that you would be proud and excited to give or send to someone, but I don't want you to think you have to spend oodles of time creating something, because sometimes then that takes the fun out of being creative. So again, very, very simple, very basic. All of these 2 cards feature the Boughs of Holly Designer Series paper, and it's just the basic white cardstock. And I used the Brightest Glow stamp. This is a bundle in the mini, but I didn't want the bundle. I just wanted the stamps to focus on my Christmas card classes. So I just ordered the stamp set, but I want you to know it is a bundle. On this card, I used the Soft Succulent, because there is Soft Succulent in the Designer Series paper, for some bling. The ink is Mossy Meadow, which again picks up on the Designer Series paper. The mat that the Designer Series paper is on is Mossy Meadow, and I used the gingham embossing folder. You could have left it blank and plain. I thought it needed something. I pulled out a stamp to use Versamark, a splatter from a different set, but then I thought, okay, I'm going to be stamping all over this, and I didn't want that. It was, again, more time consuming, and I kept this simple because this is featured at my November Christmas Stamp-A-Stack class. So I wanted to keep the process moving since it was a Stamp-A-Stack. So, and on this one, I just switched up the Designer Series paper. Again, this is still the paper from Boughs of Holly. And on this one, from the Festive Festive Pearls, I put the Real Red. So for today's video, we're going to, again, same basic layout, same card, same designer series paper. We're just going to change it up just a little bit because you know me, I like to change things up a little bit. Or just honestly see what else I can do with that layout and that design. So again, we still have our 5.5 by 8.5 basic white cardstock that's going to be for our base. Our 4 by 5 1/4 mossy meadow cardstock. And on this one, I used the, what is it? Quarter foil embossing folder. Just to change it up. Try a different embossing folder. You're not going to be seeing a lot of the embossing folder, but again, it just adds some texture and dimension to our card. Ooh. Make sure I'm going the right direction. That way, or the way. When you use it, in case you didn't know, when you use an embossing folder, you get the embossed side, which is the raised side, and when you turn it over, you get the debossed, which is, it's kind of sunken down. But I think I'm going to stick with that and use the embossed side. And I'm using liquid adhesive. You can use a tape runner, but sometimes I find out with embossing folders, because there is a texture on it, the tape runner will sometimes stick and start pulling your cardstock up. So let's see if we can get this centered, close enough to being centered, because like I tell you, the struggle is real. Some days are better than others. And what I'm going to do now is just sort of try and get my cardstock lined up on my grid paper. Because grid paper not only helps protect your work surface, it also helps you with getting things laid down and in place. So let's see how we're working on that. And I'm just really trying to eyeball this to see how I'm doing. And I'm telling you, can tell that's doesn't look too good. Okay. God, this one looks like it's too long. The designer series paper is 3.5 by 1.5. Yeah, and that one was just a sliver off. I didn't think it looked right. Okay, that looks better. All right, so I've got those where I think I like them. And I'm going to leave those there. And you know what? I'm not going to use the liquid because I want to pull these up just in case. So I'm going to use a tape runner. And again, I've always said tape runner to me is a personal preference. If you want to use Stampin' Up, I think it's called Seal. If you want to use that, it's great. I just happen to prefer a different type of tape runner. Mostly I use the Tombow liquid adhesive for my cards. I just, again, gives me some wiggle room on lining up. But this, I wanted to be able to pull this designer series paper up if I needed to. Okay, I think that looks good. So we'll press that down, make sure it adheres. And our greeting was popped out using the, how would I use? The deckled rectangles. So I'm going to get embossing folders out of the way, bring in my Stampin' Mini for this, just because it's a little bit easier to use here on my work surface. Try and get that centered. My plate on top. Come on. Crank this through. Okay. Get that out of the way. Okay, our greeting. And I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. these dimensionals don't, the backing keeps wanting to not come off from the release. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so I've got my dimensionals on there. Get the, peel off the backing release paper. Okay. Put our greeting. Yeah, right up there. All right, so on these other cards, I used, like I said, the Festive Pearls. On this one, I thought, oh, you know, before I do that, I'm going to use the Pearlized Enamel Effects. But before I do that, you have to let this dry. Set it aside and let it dry. I'm going to stamp the greeting. And let's see, I'm going to stamp off on some scrap. All right, let's see if we don't make any mistakes on this. Try and get it centered. Don't want to goober it up. Oh, came out pretty good. Miracles do happen. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this is how I use my pearls. I'm going to use this. Okay, but like I said, you have to let this dry. So I just set the point down where I want it. And I'm just going to randomly add some of this, because it kind of blends in with the little flecks. Okay, that's it. You know what? This looks kind of a little sad right in through here. Okay, I'm going to, now, geez, I shouldn't have done that. Now I'm thinking some other places look a little neglected. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to set that aside. Make sure that completely dries. Like I said, it does take a long time to dry. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this, so I fished through, get my scrap out of here. I fished through my waste paper basket and pulled out, I had this scrap from cutting. And I just sort of put some of the pearlized enamel on this scrap and said, yeah, I think that'll look okay. So setting that aside for it to dry. And then what I did is I did another one, because I really liked this, and I do need Christmas cards. On this card, I used the Fern embossing folder on it, same thing. I did not put the greeting on with dimensionals because I wanted to do something else. I have, what are these? The little flat Jingle Bell trinkets. Use these for Christmas card class, and I have these left over, which probably would not have been enough for another class. I wasn't just going to reorder trinkets. So I thought, I'm going to see what this would look like on here. So this is what I did. I took the little bell. I used our elegant trim with the gold to make a little bow. And we're going to attach that with a glue dot onto this card. And normally I would press this against, but I'm afraid I don't want to mess up my little bow. So put that in the corner. And then we have this one. So this is a great layout and design to use for your designer series paper. And again, a stamped greeting, popped it out with a die cut, added some embellishments. And again, this one that is still drying, and fast, simple, and easy. The designer series paper is really doing all the work for me for this greeting card. So I hope you have enjoyed today's simple card design and layout. And again, change this up. Use different designer series paper. I'm thinking of you. Thank you. Happy birthday. Use a different greeting and just keep that same concept. And voila, you've got, like I said, fast, simple, easy, pretty card to send to someone. So thanks again for stopping by. Have a wonderful day. Bye.